This is one of the wildest, most visually stunning, and rewarding JRPGs I have played in a long time. But it might not be the game for you, so I'm gonna tell you exactly what to expect from Clair Obscur Expedition 33, both the good and the hiccups, and answer all your questions to help you decide if it's the one for you. This is a spoiler-free before you buy video, so all footage is from early on, from my PlayStation 5, and I won't dive too deep into the story so you can enjoy all the twists and turns if you pick it up yourself. Thank you Kepler Interactive and Guillotine for the game code. However, as always, a code does not mean that you're not gonna get my raw opinion. This is a brutally honest before you buy video, so you're gonna know exactly how I feel about the game. You can pick this one up for yourself on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now, every year, the paintress wakes and she paints a number on this massive monolith. And on that day, everyone who passed that age passes away. So year after year, the number is going down, and now we're at number 33. This year, Gustav is leading his own team, and we're guiding them through this journey. But things quickly don't go as planned, and you realize that there is a lot more to the paintress than expected. What now remains is Gustav, Mayel, Lune, and Ciel to destroy the paintress so she never paints death again. The storytelling is incredible with twists and turns at every corner, and you can't help but become so attached to every character as you watch them grow closer together, and you'll have this urge to protect each and every one of them at every cost. And this cast makes up your party, where every character has their own combat style, and you're gonna enjoy a turn-based system with cinematic spectacles, quick-time events, and you're gonna battle enemies with fascinating designs. Some of you have asked me about difficulty levels. We have 3 of them available. You have story mode, which is the easiest. You've got expedition mode, which is your normal level. And the third option, I forgot what it was called, but this is your hard level. You can adjust the difficulty at any time in the game. And what I'm gonna say is, I consider myself a beginner in turn-based JRPGs. I prefer action-based a lot more. So while that meant that I need to tone down the difficulty level to story mode, still, some of these enemies are gonna wipe you out with one strike, even at that difficulty. But I can safely say I am so engaged in the combat system, and I've been absolutely loving it. Whenever you step into combat, the game will transition into a battlefield, and while combat is turn-based, it still features real-time action. You can attack to build up your AP meter, it's this bar down here, and then you use your AP to use skills. Each character can have up to 6 skills equipped, and QTEs will come up when you use these skills, so you gotta press the right button very quickly, but thankfully you can disable this feature if you don't like it in the settings. I am curious if you guys are a fan of QTEs. I'm usually like, sometimes I like them, sometimes not. I wanted to disable them in this game quite a few times, but I don't know, for some reason I just kept forgetting them, and eventually I just got used to them. The left side of the battle will show you the timeline of whose turn is up next, and when the enemy attacks, you can parry, dodge, or jump away from attacks. You're gonna have to do that at the right time though to see the most benefit. So for example, doing perfect parries lets you perform a powerful counterattack which decreases the enemy's health tremendously, especially if your weapon also happens to have an elemental advantage. Jumping when you see this sign coming up and then pressing R2 on the controller can also result in a powerful counterattack. Characters can also use AP to aim at an enemy's weakness and use a long-range attack to exploit it. You can also use that to drop down the enemy's shields. Every character is different, and you can have 3 active members in the party at a time. You can change your active party members instantly through this menu, and you'll also have other party members that will join you, but I'm not gonna tell you who they are because first, I'm not allowed to due to the review embargo, but second, this is the beauty of this game, so you gotta find out on your own. But let me show you how different and fun these characters that I can actually talk about actually are. Is that even a sentence? Anyways, Gustav is specialized in an overcharge attack. He can use it whenever you want to, but the best option is to fill this number up to 10 and watch him wipe down an enemy's health bar like a piece of cake. To build this up, he'll use regular attacks or different skills. My favorite way to do this is using the Lumière Assault, having perfect QTE button presses and watching the number climb up so quickly. On the other hand, we've got Mayel. Her combat style is through changing her stances. So this is gonna happen with the skills that you use. For example, defensive stance lets you take less damage and gain 1 AP per dodge or parry. Offensive stance lets you deal more damage, but that means you're gonna take increased damage as well. Whereas virtuoso, I don't know how to say this word, deals a lot more damage, and every time you switch between stances, you're gonna gain 1 AP. So in the skills tab, every skill will move her into a new stance depending on what you choose. Then we have Lune. She uses different elemental stains to target an enemy's weakness. So she has skills that apply ice, fire, lighting, earth, and light stains. For example, she can use the immolation skill, which consumes different stains and deals increased damage. So here you're gonna be playing around with skills that create stains and ones that consume them to increase your damage output. And this is where you take advantage of enemies' elemental affinities. So if they're weak to an element, you can deal 50% more damage. If they're resistant, that means they take 50% less damage, whereas being null means they take no damage, and absorb means that the enemy is healing itself. Another character you're gonna meet and have in your party is Ciel. I'm still getting the hang of her strengths and weaknesses, but basically, she applies and consumes Foretell. Skills that apply Foretell will generate sun charges, whereas skills that consume Foretell generate moon charges. And she can enter something called Twilight status, which is a situation where she can do a lot more damage if you manage to have both a sun and moon charge active at the same time. I know this sounds like a lot, but trust me, the game does a really good job introducing you into these different gameplay mechanics, and it never made me feel overwhelmed by the information. And once you try the characters out a little bit, you will get the hang of things, and I promise you it's gonna be easy to understand. On your travels, you're gonna be exploring a semi-open world. You have the world map here, and as you go from area to area, the game will switch you to the style of traversal, which it kind of looks like Ni no Kuni 2, but not really. So you can see the characters traverse, and you can use this map here to help you determine where you're supposed to go next. You can battle some foes along the way, and you're gonna unlock Eskie, who you can mount him, and he's gonna help you clear some obstacles. You can also gather some resources like Chroma, which is the in-game currency, as well as these Pictos, which are a game changer. You can equip these to increase your character's stats, and after you win 4 battles with the Pictos, it will be mastered. Now, each party member can equip up to 3 of them, and some are incredible. They can help you with things like starting with extra AP when a battle starts. They can grant you increased critical rate or gaining AP when you successfully parry attacks, etc. And this can change how strong your party is tremendously, and you can unlock many of them when exploring the overworld, semi-open world, and when trading. Merchants, for example, can be found at different areas, and some will have some items that are locked, so you gotta fight them first. For example, this merchant, he wanted me to fight him. You pick one party member to fight him, and then I unlocked this powerful Pictos. When traversing the overworld, you can also set up camp to progress the story and rest at any time by simply clicking down on your D-pad. There you can write in Gustav's journal, you can check up on others, you can also play some records that you find in different nooks and crannies. One thing that I don't like though is when you're in the overworld, as you can see, everything is just so blurry, and I found it very annoying. However, once you're inside these semi-open zones, everything becomes clear, and you have some settings to play around with to turn off things like grain effect or vignette if you don't like them, but I never found anything to turn off the blur, even when I have motion blur toggled off. Inside these semi-open world zones, you can gather resources, you can fight enemies, and you can use your hook to look for these sparkles. These sparkles are also found in different corners, and they will give you chroma, pictos, etc. And the game does a really good job at rewarding you for being nosy, but also at other times it's gonna kick your ass, because if you go somewhere where a boss is a lot more difficult than you are, it can mash you up in 1 second and wipe out your party in one hit. Not speaking from experience, I don't know what you're talking about. Jokes aside though, enemies can come out of nowhere sometimes as well and give you a mini heart attack. Like this one genuinely made me jump off my seat. But the good thing is that you can also have things like first strike, where you hit the enemy first, and that means in the timeline, you are the one who's going to start the battle first and you get to use your party members first. Whereas if the enemy surprises you, which can happen quite a lot, then it means that the enemy will have their turn first in the timeline. At the end of each fight sequence, you get a summary sheet showing you your battle loot and other stats like the time it took you to take down an enemy, the highest damage, the damage dealt, damage received, etc. When exploring, you can jump. There are some platforming areas which are pretty easy to navigate, and you can switch between characters on the fly, and most can sprint, whereas Lune will hover over the ground. You'll also come across these small snippets of audio left by previous expeditions, which will give you a little glimpse of their previous experiences. And this is the first game in a while that made me actively try to seek these out and make sure I found as many as I can. Now, before I answer more of your questions and warn you about a couple of things, hello, you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. Your girl is recording this at 2 a.m. because we wrapped up our Oblivion stream, and for that, I would appreciate it if you consider sending in a super sticker or donating to coffee or becoming a YouTube member. Every little bit helps so I can keep delivering these amazing videos to you, and also squishing the like and subscribe buttons goes a long way. Now, one thing about these semi-open areas is that it's very easy to get lost since you don't have a minimap to use or a marker to help you out. Some of these areas have corners that look exactly the same, and I found myself confused many times trying to figure out where to go next. It can go up to an hour just trying to see where I'm supposed to go, and yeah, it just left me confused. You can hold down the triangle button to access this compass, and you can use Chroma Elixir to fully regain health for all party members. And another way to heal your party members is by finding these flags. Here you can rest to regain health and use your attribute points to increase your health, attack, crit rate, defense, and speed. This is where you also unlock skills. So every level that you gain, you unlock 1 skill point and 3 attribute points to use. By the way, you can also reset your attributes by using this red resource. Here is also your chance to save, because you can't save from the menu, which is something I hate when RPGs do, but thankfully, these flags are available often enough, so it was easy for me to find them, especially when real life is calling and it's time to step out of the game and step back into adult life, so I have to leave the game for the day. However, I know many of you find the absence of saving from the menu a turn-off, so you should be aware of this. Now, there are lots of side quests that you can pick up. Some are hidden mysteries, so if you don't investigate and look around enough, you can completely miss them. For example, even from the start, when you are on your way to the harbor, you can choose to chat with some people who will build up on what you know already, like the lore, but others can also give you quests. So you can either ignore it all and simply go to the harbor, or take part in these quests. There is an equal amount of side content as the length of the main story. So it's gonna be 30 hours for the main story and another 30 for all of the side content. And there's no way to talk about Clair Obscur Expeditions 33 without talking about the presentation. And we're starting with the music, you guys. This music is so mesmerizing. It's gonna leave you in awe from the moment you start the game and you're loaded into the main screen, to the music playing in cutscenes, to the melodies playing when you're exploring, as well as the varied combat music. I haven't heard such beautiful music in a long time. It's amazing here. Voice acting is also incredible. The performances are well done and they make you feel so immersed in the story. You can choose either French or English voice acting from the settings, and by the way, in the settings you also have a few options to cater the gameplay to your liking. As you can see, you can toggle with some graphical options. I turned off motion blur, chromatic aberration, and vignette, as I don't like any of these effects, especially motion blur, because that's gonna make me very sick. If you're like me and you have motion sickness, turn that off.
There's still too much we don't understand. Where are we? This is... You seem better than before.
Yeah. Holding it together.
And the game is just stunning overall, from the different biomes, which look so varied, like this one. It's called Flying Waters, and it's a world that is underwater that looks breathtaking. taking. However, in cutscenes, these black pixels would pop up. It's not something that made me feel like, oh, it's taking away from the experience, but it's there, so it's good for you to know about that. And apart from that, the camera can be jarring, especially in tight spaces where it moves very quickly and is very unsettling. It reminded me of Atelier Yumiya's camera. However, the devs have told me that a day one patch will roll out to address the camera, so I hope this will be enough to fix this issue. So we talked about the good and the hiccups, but the question is this game the one for you? We're gonna go with this game is for you if, not for you if, and my verdict, as my voice is just slowly going away today. Now, this game is for you if you love turn-based combat with a twist on it that's gonna keep you on your toes and enemy designs that are varied, challenging, but also rewarding. It's also for you if you're looking for a 30-hour experience, excluding side content, and a story that is an absolute emotional roller coaster. It's also for you if you like a semi-open world that looks incredible with an overall title that you feel the devs have poured so much love, heart, and soul into. However, this game is not for you if you do not enjoy turn-based games. If you want an 80-hour plus spectacle like, let's say, Like a Dragon or Dragon Quest XI or Xenoblade Chronicles 3, this one is a lot shorter. And it's not for you if you want an open world RPG. As for me, I usually try to keep the this game is for you if and not for you segments pretty equal. However, with this game, it's one, difficult for me to find enough reasons why someone would not enjoy this game, and two, I just can't find enough flaws. Like, I'm being nitpicky with the flaws because they're just aren't much. This is truly a remarkable experience. The story is gut-wrenching at moments, and at others, it makes you so happy and it leaves you thinking about the characters for a long time. And also, I forgot to tell you that you can change your hairstyle and outfits, which was pretty cool. And I'm usually not too fond of turn-based games because I prefer action-based ones, but this game's combat keeps me so engaged, and I love learning the enemy's patterns while slowly familiarizing myself when to do a dodge and a parry and to time them out perfectly. It's a lot easier than Like a Dragon, for example. That one made me want to pull my hair. And honestly, if anything, the music, oh my god, you're gonna be hearing that in my videos a lot more. And speaking of my videos, I got to play Nintendo Switch 2 and a lot of games on it. So watch this video next. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon bubblies who make videos like this possible, and a shout out goes to The Game Dimension, Jake Logan, Will, and Neha for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.